now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here, as always, on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, thanking you for coming back once again and joining me here in the theater. Now, for today's review, we're going to take a look at a film with a tremendous all-star cast, When in Rome. Now, When in Rome is a 2010 American romantic comedy film directed by Mark Steven Johnson and co-written by Johnson, David Diamond, and David Weissman, and starring Kristen Bell and Josh Duhamel. The supporting cast features Alexis Dezina, Jon Heder, Danny DeVito, Will Arnett, Anjelica Huston, Kate Micucci, and Don Johnson. Now, as our movie opens, Beth Martin, who's played by Kristen Bell, is a successful and single 29-year-old art curator at the Guggenheim Museum. And she's at a point in her life where love seems like a luxury that she just can't afford. Waiting for the perfect romance has embittered her. And after flying to Rome to be the maid of honor in her younger sister Joan's impulsive wedding, she ends up meeting 26-year-old Nicholas Beeman, played by Josh Duhamel, who's the best man at the wedding. Nick rescues her in a couple of different difficult situations, but they're both still clumsy, and they end up hitting it off. As Beth comes to believe in love again, she sees Nick kissing another woman. Slightly drunk and jealous at seeing Nick with another woman who only very much later turns out to be the groom's crazy cousin, she picks up some coins, a poker chip, a rare coin, a penny, a trick quarter, and a euro from the Fountain of Love, which is based on the Trevi Fountain. Joan, played by Alexis Dezina, tells Beth that the legend says if you take coins from the fountain, the owner of the coin will fall in love with you. Beth is then pursued back in New York City by a band of pushy suitors whose coins she gathered, including Al, the diminutive sausage magnate, played by Danny DeVito, a lanky street illusionist named Lance, played by Jon Heder, a doting painter named Antonio, played by Will Arnett, and a narcissistic male model named Gail, who is portrayed by Dax Shepard. Beth now must return the coins to the fountain in order to break the spell. However, as she falls in love with Nick, she realizes that the poker chip belongs to him, and she is convinced that he is under a spell and not truly in love with her. Joan calls Beth on the day of a gala and tells her that the spell can also be broken by returning the coins to the original owner. Stacy, Beth's secretary, who's played by Kate Micucci, is concerned about her, and she overhears the conversation. So she steals the coins because she believes that Beth would lead a much better life with people loving her, regardless of the spell. When Beth's suitors all show up together at her apartment, she tells them that she does not love them and that she plans to return their coins to them. She also tells them of her love for Nick, but she realizes that Stacy has stolen the coins. She sets off to retrieve the coins. Aided by her suitors, they all pile into a yellow Vespa 400 microcar, which careens through city traffic into the Guggenheim and up an elevator. Stacy returns the coins to Beth, and Beth gives them back to their respective owners. Left with only the poker chip, she calls Nick and thanks him for making her believe in love once again. Nick makes his way to the gala in order to search for Beth in a sudden lightning storm that hits New York City. There, he happens to pick up his poker chip, dropped by Beth, and convinces her that his love was true. On Beth and Nick's wedding day in Rome, Lance tells her that he had several poker chips, and Nick did not break out of the spell. While exchanging their wedding vows, Beth hesitates and dashes out of the church. She revisits the fountain and wades in it once again. Nick appears and joins her in the fountain. He said that he had never thrown a poker chip in. He drops a poker chip in the water right then, and the priest, who's played by Keir O'Donnell, can be heard yelling, "Free of temptation!" Beth finally believes Nick, kisses him, as our movie comes to its end. Now, when Beth hands the coins back to Antonio, Lance, Gail, and Al, it's intended to be a parody of or an homage to The Wizard of Oz, with Beth representing the wizard, giving each one of her suitors something. Beth even goes as far as to tell Gail that she will miss him least of all, which is a role reversal of the line that Dorothy tells to the Scarecrow, where she says, "I'll miss you most of all," when she bids goodbye to him near the end of the film. In order to promote the movie, Don Johnson, who had an uncredited role as Beth's father, and Jon Heder, Lance, co-hosted an episode of WWE's Monday Night Raw on January 18th, 2010. Now, in the world of romantic comedies, I feel that this is way above average. I felt the story was creative and fun, the actors were humorous and sympathetic, and the pacing seemed to flow perfectly. I also enjoyed some of the cameos in the film, which included former basketball players David Lee and Shaquille O'Neal, as well as former football player and WrestleMania main eventer and WWE Hall of Famer Lawrence Taylor. You even had Wu-Tang Clan member Ghostface Killah portraying a DJ early on. I also loved some of the subtle connections within the film as well. For example, Dax Shepard, who plays the arrogant model Gail, is the real-life husband of Kristen Bell, our film's leading lady. Likewise, street magician Lance, played by Jon Heder, has an assistant within the film who only has like 2, maybe 3 scenes, very minor role. The assistant is portrayed by Efren Ramirez, who played Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite, alongside Heder, who was the titular character. When it comes to my rating for this film, and you think about all of the rom-coms that I've done over the years, this is definitely up there, I would say, in the upper echelon. 4 out of 5 stars for me. What do you guys think? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. As always, am I giving this film too much praise? Am I underselling it and you think it's better than 4 stars? Is this just another stereotypical cookie cutter rom-com and it really doesn't even deserve to exist out there on a piece of film? Let me know your thoughts. Did you catch the connection between Jon Heder and Efren Ramirez? Because I noticed that right away, especially since he was wearing the wig, the Pedro wig. It really kind of tipped it off. Now, Jon Heder didn't look like Napoleon Dynamite. They actually made him look like, for lack of a better term, an attractive leading man. Someone that could be a suitor for someone like Kristen Bell. But Efren Ramirez, man, they made sure to hone in on the Pedro and have him with the wig and everything. I'm curious if y'all caught that. Let me know in the comments. Thank you once again for joining me here today for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Until the next time that we come back together to convene in the theater, I am the Renegade J.J. Williams, thanking y'all for joining me and tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.